said you went from like working 40 hours a week, replace your income, and then you went to just like working around, was it 5 or 6 hours a week? Is that right? Or did
Yeah.
I hear that wrong?
Well, the actual client work that I do is averages somewhere between 4 to 6 hours a week to get all my
Okay.
clients' books finished.
So you went from 40 hours to 4 to 6 hours a week. How do
Yeah.
you structure your days? I am so curious.
Well, I will say I also work probably somewhere between 6 and 10 hours a week for the academy and my mentoring
Right.
work. So, and I'm not including that. So when we say I replaced my former income, I'm not including the academy income, and I'm just talking about the client work. And it is like 4 to 6 hours a week to get all my clients finished. That tends to be front loaded in the front of the month. But then there are additional marketing networks, marketing time and networking time and that kind of thing that we all should be engaging in kind of day in, day out if we want to really be growing our business. But I will say I have not done a ton of that. So it's not much different than that 4 to 6 hours we're talking about. But it certainly could be because we have students that are growing these huge empires in their bookkeeping business and are spending much more time in marketing and networking than I'm spending.
Well, that's the beautiful thing is you in a business like this, you kind of get to decide. Like you mentioned, some people want to build, we have mentors on our team who want to build an empire and have a lazy river in their backyard and a beach house in Florida. And then some people said, I want more balance of my life. I just want to work a couple hours a week to fit my needs. So I actually want to add in a question for everybody who's watching. If you could put in the comments, if you only had to work, let's round it up just a little bit. 6 to 10 hours a week. What would you do with the rest of your time? Comment below and let us know. But Sharon, share with us when you made that change, and you were able to replace that 40 hours, working 4 to 6 hours on your client work, and you do other things. You do work with us, and you sing and you perform as well. What do you do with that extra free time that you didn't have when you had to work a 40-hour 9 to 5?
Yes, well, I have much more time for my fun pursuits, hobbies. And gosh, keeping my house clean, it's in much better condition now than it was.
Mhm.
um, but also I had something unexpected. So when I launched my business, I thought, yeah, I want to grow to a really large scale business, and I still have that goal, but life happens.
Mhm.
And shortly after maybe a year after I launched my business, and that was about the time that it took to replace the former income with, that many clients. About that time, it suddenly became clear that I was going to have to spend quite a bit of time helping to care for my elderly parents.
Mhm.
And so, now it's like, okay, well, I need to kind of halt the marketing for now a little bit because I don't really know what it's going to look like. And, also, I still didn't have uh, as good of skills as I do now. I mean, I'm faster with my clients. So at that time, I probably wasn't at the 4 to 6 hour a week
Mhm.
average. It was more than that. But yeah, I've just whittled that down because my skills are just heightened now. But it just gave me the gift of time because
Mhm.
now I'm making my former income, paying all my bills, and only spending 4 to 6 hours a week, And so while I still want to grow my business, that has been an amazing gift to have have started my business when I did, and I was paying my bills when I met that occasion that was like, oh, it's going to look different,
Mhm.
and so it's allowed me to still, make the money I need to make with
Mhm.
fairly low stress because I could do it at midnight if I had to
Yeah.
spend all the day in a hospital or something,
Mhm.
and so it's really been great for that.
Yeah, and that's really powerful. People talk a lot about financial freedom. But really, what we want in life is time freedom to put that time where, whether you want to, like you said, with hobbies, but as you said, life happens. And so I think that's a really important reminder that we can chase finances, we can chase financial goals, but that time freedom is something very, very powerful that some people may not understand is possible in a business like this. So I love that you keyed into that.
And
I
the
love
reverse has been true also with many of our students. They get in thinking, I just need to make a couple $1,000s a month to help with my family's overall bills. And wouldn't it be great if I could do it at home? And so I could always, pick up the kids from soccer and, whatever it is. And yet they get into this and think, oh, this is kind of amazing. And I
Mhm.
think I could build this to you know, quite an impressive business, and they do. So the
Mhm.
goals change. My goal was I had to retract the goal a little bit, and other people are like, "Sheesh, the sky is
Mhm.
the limit here.
Yeah.
Let me take advantage of."
I just thought of something as you were talking about, caring for your parents and you've got that flexibility and that time freedom. It made me think about some people that may be watching here, and this could be anyone, that they're almost to that point. They've been working a corporate job or whatever for many, many years, and they're thinking, I'm too old, or I've been in this same career too long to change. So let's think about that for a second. What would you say to that person?
Well, I would say that, the barriers to entry here are pretty low. It's not terribly expensive to start a bookkeeping business. You likely already have a computer and internet. You're already set up there. There's not very many expenses to start. And, you can be up and running quickly and you can do these learning modules that we have here in the academy on your own time. You could do a little here, a little there. You could do full time.
Mhm.
If you're not currently in a job or something and you have that luxury, you can do that. So it's not as if, gosh, I'd really like to go out and get an accounting degree.
Mhm.
I've got to spend, 2 to 4 years trying to make that happen, and many tens of thousands of dollars or something. Nope, you don't need that. So if you're sort of like, well, it's too late in my life to switch because it's going to be hard, it's such an uphill battle and expensive, and well, that none of that part is true. It's probably a lot lower a hurdle than you might think.
Mhm.
So why not switch if you're not happy with
Mhm.
either your financial situation or your time situation or your commute?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it could also be an add-on, right? So like you said, you started with like 6 hours. So if they wanted to do like 2 to 4 hours and start there and see, just see and get their feet wet, to me, I think it's just such an that the flexibility there is what is amazing to me.
right. Yeah, ditto.
Yeah.
I love that.
And we've been saying this a lot in other training calls that I'd like to key into here as well is the time is going to pass either way. It doesn't matter if in your 20s, your 30s, your 50s, in 10 years, it's going to be 10 years later. So, do you want to see a different life for yourself? If so, there's no better time than today. So I love that. So going back to the beginning, Sharon, we've talked a lot about your journey, where you started, what kept that momentum and where you're going. So if we have anybody here who is thinking about making this change in their life, they don't know where to go, they're frustrated, but they're still a little bit anxious. What advice would you give to them? I mean, what would advice would have you given to yourself that you wish, if there was a Sharon speaking to you in your first month of the academy, what piece of advice would you give yourself going, I'm about to take this leap. What do I do? How do I make this change?
Well, I sort of did drag my feet a little bit. I mean, as I said, when I saw the ad, I was so excited. But I joined, or I bought the course at the time. You could just buy into the actual training modules and
Mhm.
not the live support that we offer. And so that's what I did as a little bit of a toe in the water. And then I was like, well, I'm going to wait to join the academy until I've actually launched my business because, just time wise, then I'll maybe have clients that they can help me with.
Yep.
And I kept not launching my business. I mean, I was just hungry to get those modules in, but I kept not doing the, public facing things.
Mhm.
And but then I thought, you have to join the academy. And I
Mhm.
did. And 2 weeks later, I launched. I mean, it was just the kick in the pants I needed to get going. And it wasn't until I joined the academy that things really started to move for me, obviously. So I would just say, do it.
Do it. Dive into that support. I mean, you think of how many times people join gyms and then,
Mhm.
sometimes you need a trainer. You need this someone there to give you the kick in the pants, to keep you going. I love it.
Stop
That's great.
talking about me in the gym, Emily. I know she's talking about me.
Oh my God,
She's
I'm
like, I
talking
told
about
you that in
myself.
confidence this morning.
You know what? I have a question, Sharon, because we're talking about, if you were to, I know Emily just asked you, but if you could tell yourself something, I guess, what is life for you now? If you look at where you were and where things are now, can you kind of just shed some light on how things are for you and let people see what's at that end of that rainbow?
It's great. I mean,
I love
I,
that.
like I said, I started at 55. In the old days of 30 years and a gold watch, 55 was the average retirement age back in, 60s, 70s, 80s. And do you know anybody who's retiring at 55 now? But we all get kind of tired at that point or earlier. I mean, I remember thinking, oh, I'm so sick of the slog that just, doing as much as I had to do just to meet my monthly nut of expenses. It just was so exhausting. Ugh. And now I love the work. I love this work. And so, I can see doing it as long as I need to do it. And frankly, it'll keep my mind engaged, right? And they say we're supposed to do that. So it's just great. A, I love the work. And B, it takes me so far fewer hours to do the work to pay my bill. And I got no complaints.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sharon. I think if there's anything, I want to see some chats because we need to see some people being very active in here. So tell us what you think about Sharon's story. If there's anything, this is proof that it's never too late. If you've been waiting for a sign to invest in yourself and take back control of your time, this is it. So I know, Emily, you're putting the sign up. Go ahead, scan the QR code. It'll take you to a page where you can chat with our team about your next steps. And don't forget, we've got a live webinar coming up. I believe it's next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, where you can meet the whole team, ask questions, and see how this can work for you. We'll drop the link in the comments so that you can register and save your seat. Is there anything else that we should be saying to everyone right now? Emily, Sharon, I mean, I'm just
We thank you,
excited.
Sharon.
I
Sharon,
know.
so awesome. You and
I
what
know.
what I want people to key into here who are watching is you can work with Sharon directly. You come join our academy. She is one of our mentors. She does calls every single week. She answers questions. She is a big favorite whenever we're reviewing metrics and comments each week, saying how much they love Sharon. So if you want to just absorb the inspirational greatness that is Sharon, um, she is a key member of our team, and we are just so thankful for you being here with us today, Sharon.
Thank you,
Been fun.
Sharon.
Thanks for having me.